Well, welcome back everyone to Kitchen Table TCG. Today we're going to be talking about WTR. Welcome to Rathe. We're going to do Unlimited, we're going to do Alpha, we're going to look at the market value of every single card in the set. We're going to put it together in an EV tracker to see is it worth it to open up a box currently. If you are looking for access to all this data that you're about to see, I do have a Patreon that gives you access to all the data in a spreadsheet collection tracker. You kind of type in what you have and how many of each card you have, and it updates the values in real time whenever I do a video and gives you a summary of your overall value of your collection. It's pretty great. Head on over to patreon.com/KitchenTableTCG if you're interested in that. And then I love to highlight Mitch over at the Midtown Merchant. Mitch has the best deals on singles. Mitch has given us a promo code BeKind to save $5 off your order of $50 or more. But if you're a patron, you get 10% off every month, which really can help pay for your entire Patreon, honestly, and if you are going to buy singles anyway. So let's take a look at WTR. We'll start off with Unlimited to see where we're at. Box prices right now sitting on TCG Play are around 72. If you're shopping around on Facebook, you might be able to get them for 70 if you find a store that's still doing that. They're starting to dry up from the $70 price point, and we're starting to see them rise just a little bit. You can see some sold listings in there at 76. So I think the market's starting to absorb some of the boxes, but I do think we have some more coming as well. So let's see if we can beat the $72 kind of cost of a box to see what's in there. As we look at the Fable, we're down to $345 right now. On eBay, you can see some sold listings upwards of 400 at 420, at 400, at 330, and then you got some at 300 and 320. So like it's kind of hard to figure out, hey, what's the exact value? If you look on TCG Player, around 330, 345 seems to be where they are. So we'll call it 345 with a couple of those sold listings in the 400s, just to kind of balance it all out. Make sure you're shopping around. If you're a buyer, you're probably looking for 300. If you're a seller, you're probably looking for 360. You'll probably have to negotiate down, probably 330, 345. So looking at the legendaries as we walk through, a lot of kind of just flip-flopping, switching happening. A lot of softness. We're down 6%. Your average legendary is at $138. Scab Skin and Tectonic Plating sitting in the 80s. Mask of Momentum down about $10. Braveforge Bracers down about $10. And then the Spring Tunic is actually starting to move up. There were a few sold listings for the Spring Tunic in the like 245 range, but then there's some at the 235 range as well, and there's one available right now for 235. So it seems like that's around the new kind of standard price point. We're seeing the competition with the Arcanite Skullcap too on these two cards to see which one is going to hold true as the most expensive Unlimited legendary. Interesting to see that. We are starting to see Fandale's Spring Tunic pull away from the Mask of Momentum, where they were kind of pretty close, way kind of in the history. They were kind of close at some point, 190, 200. The Tunic is just going to become more and more the card to get as it's more universal. So all in all, your average is sitting at 138. We are down 6% this week. Looking at the Majestic Rainbow foils, we're going to be down 4% this week. Enlightened Strike, not really changing at all. Tome of Fandle, not really changing at all. It's these class-specific Majestics that are going to be very, very, not very soft, but they're going to be more soft than the generic ones, as they're just not as played and not as needed in the decks, and they're so specific to those target decks. So your average Rainbow foil is sitting at $23.85. As we look towards the regular Majestic, it's about the same. We're down 9%. Enlightened Strike is actually a little bit soft this week. Tome of Fandle, a little bit soft this week, but a lot of your other softness is coming again from those generic cards. From those class-specific cards. A lot of people are opening boxes right now. We talked about this yesterday with Arcane. A lot of people opening boxes as a result of boxes being so cheap, and so that drives some of these prices down. Looking then at the super rares, in the rainbow foil side, we're actually up 1%. No real huge changes. 50 cents for a Reckless Swing here, down $1 for Iron Song Determination there. A lot of the same, down 50 cents for Remembrance, just kind of balancing out, supply and demand right now. Average is sitting at $3.11, which is up 1%. And then your non-foil supers, Iron Song Determination, a little bit soft. We're down 8% here to an average of $1.75. Iron Song Determination was a really, really hot card, and now it's starting to cool off a little bit. Yeah, that might be a supply thing. That might just be that the meta's changing a little bit away from Dorinthia and towards some other heroes. It's just kind of supply demand thing. All in all, we're at 8% with your average at $1.75. There's some other softness in the cards, but nothing huge to talk about. Okay, just so you keep in mind that I use TCG low for the rares and the commons on this. So the average rainbow foil rare is sitting at 83 cents, which is really no change from last week. The regular rares, as we move into this, we're down 7% for 22 cents. And then the common rainbow foils, I am noticing that some of these equipments are starting to get very cheap. It just can't keep up with the supply. Like $1 for refraction bolters. We're in the 50-cent range for Hope Marchant's Hood. But that puts your average, rainbow foil common at about 45 cents. All right, let's take a look at what's in a box. Average per box, you're going to get 42 rares, 4 foil rares, 4 super rares, 1 foil super rare, 2 majestics. 1 in every 4 boxes will have a foil majestic. 1 in every 4 boxes will have a legendary, and 1 in 40 has a chance at hitting a fable. That makes your 40 box average. If you're going to open up 40 boxes and you want to include the fable and the legendary in your calculations, you'd be sitting at $101.76. If you're just going to open up 1 box and you don't want to calculate in the legendary or the fable, you'd be sitting at $58.53. So this is the price we track. Let's take a look at where we were from last week. All in all, we're going to be down 7%. We were up to 109 last week. We're down to 101.76 this week, which is down 7%. Let's take a look at the top 10 cards to gain or lose value. We've got Potion of Strength, which is going up 35%. Mugenshi Release Rainbow Foil up 30%, and Route Rainbow Foil up 25%. The non-foil gainers, we have Bonehead Barrier up 40%, Showtime up 40%, and Last Ditch Effort up 33%. Moving forward to the cards that lost the most value, the foil losers, Glint the Quicksilver is down 20%, Scabskin Leathers down 18%, and Forge for War down 16%. The non-foil losers, we have Ironsong Determination down $3 for 30%, Glint the Quicksilver down 25%, and Spinal Crush down 25%. Okay, let's move on to Alpha. If you're still sticking with me in these videos, thank you. I know the views have been way down. People don't like to watch their cards lose value. Let's take a look at Alpha. Speaking of losing value, very interesting stuff happening with sealed boxes. I know of some high-level people who are buying up boxes and who are definitely interested in buying boxes around these prices. But here's what's happening on Facebook. We're seeing this kind of negativity and influx, and people are selling boxes for like $3,800 on Facebook. Meanwhile, on eBay, we're seeing sales of like $5,800, $4,600, and now we have seen a sale for $3,800. I will mention that this one is kind of beat up. The box is just not, nothing against the seller or anything. The box is just it's just kind of beat up. I mean, look at the. It's got like where did I see it? It's got like it doesn't have a rip in anything, but like, see, it's just kind of like, I know a lot of them are like this, but like, anyway, it's not that I'm not taking this price into consideration. I absolutely am. And Facebook is definitely similar to these prices, under the 4,000, but there's also boxes being purchased for 5,800 this week on eBay. So it's kind of like, what is the price point? I'm going to go with 4,500, kind of thread the needle between kind of these two prices. Definitely seeing some on Facebook for the $3,800 range. I will say that there's a lot of negativity in comments going on right now about this stuff. If you don't need to sell, then don't sell. If you need the money, then take the price that's being offered for your box. And if you need the money, then move forward. But if this is not the time to sell an alpha box if you're not in the need for the money. If your family needs the money, then sell. But like right now, we're definitely getting down towards that kind of pre-spike when we kind of learned about all the print stuff. Numbers here that was way back in March at the 38, whatever. So it does not seem like the time to sell. We'll call it 38, 4,500. Depends on eBay or Facebook. So on the Fable side, no update on the heart. Nothing selling. No one's offering anything. It's just kind of it's like the hearts don't exist. They're in the hands of the collectors. But we do have a lot of legendaries that have moved this week. We had a Tectonic Plating that sold for $1,700. We had a Brave Forge Bracers that sold for $1,350. I'm actually kind of bummed I missed out on that. I would love to upgrade my Brave Forge Bracers. And then we have, so the one I want to show you guys is a Mask of Momentum that sold for $2,800. And this is something that apparently is pretty common. I didn't actually know this because I don't own a Mask of Momentum. But so this one, $3,800. Sorry, what did I say it sold for? It sold for $2,800, right? Yeah, $2,800. You see that little thing under the story? That's actually a printer issue. And I know that it's common. I don't know how common it is. I don't actually, I should have asked somebody, but I don't know how common it is. It's not actually like a crease or anything. It's just like a printer issue. So keep that in mind. I think a lot of them are like that. So I'm going to kind of weigh that into the price a little bit more. We'll still call it $3,000. We'll kind of lower it to $3,000, but it did sell for $2,800. Brave Forge Bracers for $1,350. And then the Spring Tunic sold for $5,100 here this week on the 1st. I think, two bids in Flesh and Blood are really great to see kind of what the bottom is for a card, because typically the bids are really low. The only thing I wanted to note here on this $5,100 is that you see that little printer line to the left of the sword. That may have an influence, and it was disclosed, and the slight imperfection, tiny print run in the back of the card, that may have affected the value of the card a little bit in the bidders, as it would kind of knock some grades off the surface on the back there. But all in all, beautiful card. So $5,100, new kind of price point. We did have that one that sold for $4,000 that was way back that potentially had some issues too. So $5,100, we'll call it kind of a new price point. But I do think if you had like a really minty one, or like a potential 9.5, you'd probably be sitting in the more like $6,000, $6,500, honestly. But it's hard to kind of evaluate when these are the cards that are on the market. So all in all, your cold foil legendaries, your legendaries are down to an average of 25.70 for we're down 10%. Oops, undo. All right, looking at the cold foil commons then. Lots of cards moving. I will say we are down 9%, but more importantly, we are starting to see the average cards kind of bounce back. We're starting to see new sold listings at the averaging. So some cards are going, like the average is pushing them up, and some cards the average is pushing them down. Like an Iron Rot Helm went up to 260. Meanwhile, like Iron Rot Plate went from 250 to 227. So like the downwards pressure isn't as much as the upwards pressure. The problem is that some of these bigger cards, like a Goliath Gauntlet, sold for $600 last week, and this week sold for $375. So that's weighing in a lot in this negative number. But it's nice as somebody who really talks about cold foil commons a lot, like Helm of Ides Peak up to 425. It's nice to see these numbers very close to the average number. Whereas like some of these numbers, right, like some of this, like let's use the 600, kind of far away from the average of 350. 460, kind of far away from the average of 350. So it's nice to see most of these numbers closer to this 317. That tells me that we're starting to even out in the market, which is good. All in all, let's see where we were at an average of 317. If we back away before the huge spike. The huge spike happened and we were at 253 to 350. So, 300 on average there, kind of on the way up the spike, would kind of be about where we are right now in terms of the cards at 317. So, I talk about that spike a lot because I really believe that that's going to be a pretty solid floor, as that's when a lot of people bought the cards. So, looking at the Majestic Rainbow Foils, nothing sold. These are so rare. They're individually more rare than the Heart of Feyendel, so they just don't pop up very often. No sold. But we did have a lot of Majestic sale. We're actually up 6% on the Majestic side of things. Crippling Crush for 70, Lord of Wind for 43, Ancestral Empowerment for 85. No huge changes. Enlightened Strike did get some ground, and then the big change here was Tome of Feyendel selling for 215. That puts your average at $105.90, which is up 6%. Looking at the super rare rainbow foils, again, so rare, not really that many of them on the market, as opposed to the Arcane Rising yesterday, where one seller posted just about every rainbow foil super rare for about 50% of the value, or that it had been. So make sure you watch it if you haven't seen them. No real change, still sitting at an average of $123. Your regular super rares, there were a few that popped up this week. Again, kind of soft. We're down 2%. No huge changes. Remembrance at 33, Singing Steelblade at 20, Route at 16. Just we're not seeing a lot of these cards right now. Looking at the rares, we use TCG Low. We're down 2% for an average of $36. Looking at the non-foil rares, again, TCG Low, we're down 4% for an average of $2.65. The common rainbow foils, a lot of people are buying these up and using them in decks and spending the extra couple bucks. We're actually up 13% right now to an average of $11.13. I will say, like, it's kind of cool to have a foil from Alpha in your deck, so I think that's kind of going on some of those things, and then set collectors as well. And then your regular commons, which do have some value, you're sitting at an average of 67 cents. Okay, let's take a look at the EV calculation. You know what's in a box. 40 box average, including the commons, would be sitting at $2,715. If you take out the non-foil commons of that, you're sitting at $2,539 in value. If you just want to take one box and you want to take out the, your chance at hitting a legendary, a chance at hitting a fable, you'd be sitting at $1,397. I do not advise that you open up a box at all. So we're down 3% on the market with that from last week. So again, we had some huge losses at 13, 10, and 14%, and now we're starting to slow down in the losses. So good to see that. Top 10 cards to gain value this week. Helm of Eisen's Peak, up 41%. Cold foil, Iron Rot Helm Cold Foil Common, up 40%, and the Spring Tunic up 2%. Take that for what it is. If you want to use that $4,000 one that sold last, would be up around 20%. The top 10 non-foil gainers: Tome of Fandale for 26%, Sand Sketch Plans for 14%, and Last Ditch Effort for 11%. And then looking at the cards that lost the most value, we do have some cold foil commons on this list. Iron Rot Gauntlet down 50%, Goliath Gauntlet down 37%, and Brave Forge Bracers, the legendary, down 32%. Keep in mind, there's so few sold listings of any other foils. There's the commons just sell more, so that's kind of where we are. And then the non-foil losers: Singing Steelblade down 13%, Route down 11%, and Lord of Wind down 10%. So that's it, everyone. That's the collection tracker. That's the update. If you're looking for a way to track your collection, head on over to KitchenTableTCG.com or Patreon.com/KitchenTableTCG. Get yourself some access to this collection tracker. That being said, I appreciate you. Hope you have a good day, and remember to be kind to the people around you.